morning. Greetings, friends, and welcome to Brightside, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado, registered pharmacist number 12275. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality, to your health, to your well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to the Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That is why we are here every day on the Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 27 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing system a miracle, it really is no miracle at all. It is simply the way the body works. Business as usual for the human body. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to get off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program or help a loved one get off their meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you out on the Bright Side. Our number is 855-660-4261. That's 855-660-4261. If you have questions about the longevity products, if you want to purchase any of the longevity products that we recommend or advertise on the program, you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Make sure you ask them about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine Multivitamin Mineral Complex Powder that you add to water and drink. It's a wonderful source of your water-soluble vitamins, the B complex and vitamin C, as well as electrolytes. It's a good source of vitamin C, vitamin D, E, A, and K, your fat-soluble vitamins. It's got minerals, fruit and vegetable powders. Truly a cornucopia of nutrition for just $50 a canister. And now, Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 with prebiotics and probiotics as well, and GMO-free. Tastes great, great for kids. It's especially effective if you have digestive problems. The liquid format means the nutrition goes right to work. It bypasses any kind of nutritional problems that you may have. And it's only $50 a canister. If you haven't tried this stuff yet, you owe it to yourself to at least give it a shot. Most folks notice results within 1 or 2 doses, results like lower blood pressure, results like appetite suppression, results like more energy, results like weight loss. Folks get off their prescription drugs. It's Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You can find out all about it by calling the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, or you can head over to my website, brightsideben.com, and pull down on the shopping cart, or you can click on the Join the Team link and start yourself a longevity business for a one-time $10 fee. You can join the Brightside Ben team and start a longevity business, make some money selling longevity products, and get your products at the wholesale price to boot. All right. We are talking about the bulk of the body, the meat of the body, if you will, the meat of the structure of the body, 80 to 90% of the body. It's what I call the connective tissue muscle tissue complex, the core of the body. In our last program, we left off talking about protein for building this core, this connective tissue muscle tissue core. We talked about using vitamin C and A and zinc and avoiding inflammatory foods, especially sugar. I don't want to pile on the anti-sugar bandwagon, but I'm telling you, folks, if you want to pick one dietary move that you can make to extend your life, reduce inflammatory diseases, reduce autoimmune diseases, feel better, it's reducing your intake of sugar. And, of course, that means refined flours and refined products and processed foods as well. Fixing leaky gut syndrome is also an important strategy for building connective tissue and building the bulk of the body. But really, there's no more important strategy for keeping this connective tissue, muscle tissue complex strong and healthy than eating more quality protein. And the best quality protein is going to be connective tissue protein, muscle tissue protein. That's called steak. That's called roast beef. That's called hamburger. This is the ultimate connective tissue building food. I'm sorry, vegans. I'm sorry, vegetarians. I'm not saying, by the way, that steak and hamburger and roast beef are necessarily quality foods. You got to be really careful about your steak and hamburger. McDonald's doesn't count. Safeway and King Soopers doesn't count. You don't want to buy your meat in the supermarket You want to get high-quality meat if you're going to get meat, and you want to make sure it's organic. It's a hormone-free meat, and it's antibiotic-free because, as you all know at this point, meat as we ordinarily eat it, and meat as it's ordinarily processed, is not really a quality food. Theoretically, it's got all the good stuff for building connective tissue and muscle tissue, but from a practical standpoint, the stuff that we get in stores can cause more, in supermarkets, can cause more harm than good. So you got to be really, really careful. Go to a good butcher shop. Hunting's the best. Getting your meat freshly killed is the best way to do it. I'm not personally, I stay away from meat just because of all the problems associated with it, and I'm not a hunter. So I'm just giving you the science here, folks. The amino acids, the building blocks that you'll find in meat, animal meat, yes, flesh foods, are the select amino acids for building your connective tissue. So if you're a meat eater, you're going to be able to build your connective tissue and muscle tissue more effectively than if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, but you got to be careful with the kind of meat that you use. Of course, whey protein is a good source of protein, and egg protein is also a good source of protein, and they're good building proteins, but they're not going to have the same concentration of the amino acids that are important for building your connective tissue, for building your muscle tissue. Connective tissue and muscle tissue amino acids are found in meat in high concentrations, and thus the importance of eating meat, as long as you're careful about it. Also, eating the building blocks of protein, the amino acids, the building blocks of protein, or at least supplementing with them, can be an important strategy for building connective tissue and muscle tissue. Just getting the aminos, just supplementing with glycine, just supplementing with proline, just supplementing with lysine, getting the straight amino acids, using branched chain amino acid supplements. These can be a very important way of improving, not only giving us the raw material for building connective tissue and muscle tissue, but also as control points for shutting off our appetite, keeping us from munching and snacking on pro-inflammatory foods. Amino acids have an ability to activate the satiety center, the appetite suppressant center in the brain. This is the best way to lose weight, by the way, is not to use willpower, but to activate that appetite suppressant center in the brain, and amino acids are key players in turning on that appetite suppressant switch in the brain. Our intake of amino acids is also one of the most important factors in reversing the aging process and the visible signs. This is where the glucogel caps come in, by the way. Gelatin is basically collagen. Any type of gelatin food is going to be beneficial. Even Knox gelatin can be helpful, but the glucogel caps are great. The glucogel caps not only have gelatin, but they also have glucosamine, which is also a very important component for building connective tissue. And that means not just connective tissue for the bulk of the body structure, but also connective tissue for bone and for skin and for blood vessels and for lymphatic vessels as well. You can use the glucogel caps to improve circulation, to improve lymphatic circulation as well as blood circulation, and to keep your skin wrinkle-free, and to keep your bones strong too. And if you have any malabsorption issues, any digestive issues that are affecting the absorption of proteins, if you have leaky gut syndrome, and many tens of millions of Americans are dealing with leaky gut syndrome or some other kind of malabsorption problem, if you have any of these problems in the digestive system, you are almost guaranteed to have a connective tissue problem, either weakened connective tissue, weakened muscle tissue. You're extra likely to have an autoimmune disease. Autoimmune diseases are in large part connective tissue disorders. Doctors call the generic autoimmune diseases that are based in the connective tissue MCTD. That stands for mixed connective tissue disease, and that's kind of a catch-all phrase for connective tissue breakdown, fibroses, general pain. These are all common signs of connective tissue diseases. Scleroderma, lupus, Marfan syndrome, rheumatoid arthritis, more examples of connective tissue diseases. The only medical treatment for these kinds of health challenges are anti-inflammatory drugs and immune suppressant drugs like prednisone. There's nothing a doctor can do to reverse the breakdown or to build up the connective tissue and muscle tissue complex. There's a lot of nutritional things we can do. In fact, I take a 3-step approach to building connective tissue via nutritional strategies. We'll talk about that in just a moment when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Hi, everyone. I'm Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist and host of The Brightside. The good news about nutrition and health. The good news that if you or someone you care about is on a prescription drug or has some kind of health challenge, there's a gentle, natural, healthy way to address most health issues without drugs and without doctors, and it's as simple as understanding how the parts of the body work and how they interact with the foods we eat and the nutrients we take in. If you've heard me on The Brightside or at one of my presentations, you know I'm a man on a mission to help you understand health and wellness and the remarkable healing powers of the biological system called the human body. And if you like The Brightside, you're going to love my new website, brightsideben.com. You'll find articles and links, you'll be able to access archives, and we'll even have exclusive information that you won't hear on the radio show. And of course, you can purchase the Longevity nutritional supplements and even sign up to join my Longevity team and make an impact, make a difference, and maybe make some money too. Check out brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com, or call 866-735-2470 for more information.
Hi, this is Steve Spillum for Midas Resources. In 1971, President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard and put us into a fiat currency. This allowed Congress and the Federal Reserve to create trillions of dollars out of thin air. The national debt has risen to incredible heights, and your hard-earned dollars by a small fraction of what they once did. The average life expectancy for a fiat currency is 27 years. The dollar is failing and on borrowed time. When currencies fall, people turn to gold and silver because gold and silver have been real money for more than 5,000 years. It is our mission at Midas Resources to help you preserve your capital. Don't let your personal savings shrink to nothing. For important free information on how you can protect your personal wealth, contact me, Steve Spillum, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 308. Call today while we are still accepting dollars for gold and silver. 1-800-686-2237, extension 308. Make a change in your financial security today. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 308.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey guy.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, listen carefully. Sweeping changes to IRS policies will help more people than ever eliminate their tax debts once and for all. And now, I can help you reduce or eliminate your tax debts and end your tax nightmare. Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I've helped thousands of people reduce and eliminate tax debts they couldn't pay, and after more than 30 years of experience dealing with the IRS, I can tell you there's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. And with the IRS's new policies, it's easier than ever to put your tax debt behind you once and for all. Call now at 800-346-6829 to learn how I can help you. You know your IRS debt will not go away by itself, but you don't have to live in fear anymore. Call 800-346-6829. Learn how I can help you eliminate wage and bank levies, release tax liens, and negotiate a settlement with the IRS that will put your tax nightmare behind you forever. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to taxhelponline.com. That's taxhelponline.com.
We are the premier independent talk radio network, the Genesis Communications Network, GCN.
All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for being here. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive page, brightsideben.com. Got 3 years worth of archives up at brightsideben.com. If you miss a program, want to review a program, if you're doing the longevity products and you want to refer anybody to any of the programs, they're all up at brightsideben.com, and they're archived by, you can search them anyway, archived by search terms at benfuchsarchives.com, benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for putting that together. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products that you hear us talk about or advertise on the program, you can head over to brightsideben.com and take a look at our shopping cart, or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. For you guys out in the Bay Area, I'll be doing a talk in Santa Cruz on March the 7th at the Vintage Faith Church, and that's at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have a good time. We'll talk some skincare. We'll talk nutrition. We'll talk the longevity products as well. We'll take your questions. Hopefully you can make it out to the Vintage Faith Church if you're in the Bay Area, and that's in Santa Cruz. That'll be March the 7th, week from this Friday. Oh, my goodness. It's already coming into March. A week from this Friday at the Vintage Faith Church. Okay, got a couple lines open for you. Try to get on board early so we don't have to leave anybody on hold. Our number is 855-660-4261, 855-660-4261. If you are dealing with a connective tissue, muscle tissue breakdown, that's in the core of the body, you are in big trouble because 80 to 90% of your body is connective tissue and muscle tissue. There's nothing your doctor can do. Nothing a doctor can do to address connective tissue breakdown. Zippo. And you don't need a doctor, and you don't need Obamacare, and you don't need insurance. From a non-medical nutritional standpoint, the way you deal with these kinds of connective tissue problems, mixed connective tissue disease, autoimmune disease, whatever it is, you want to take a three-step approach. First of all, you want to correct malabsorption. You want to correct digestive issues. You guys, if you've been listening to this program, I hope you're not sick of hearing me say this. I know I say it every darn program we do. You got to focus on this central part of the body, the digestive tract. That's basically the intestine, but also the stomach, the pancreas, the liver. All of these systems are critical for absorption of nutrition and keeping the bad stuff out. Focus on the digestive system. That means eliminating problem foods, eliminating refined sugar, and especially eliminating anything that spikes insulin. That means fruit juice, and that means super sweet fruits, at least just eating small amounts of super sweet fruits. Certainly oats and grains and pasta and rice. You got to be really careful with those kinds of foods. Anybody has to be really careful, but especially if you're dealing with a digestive tract issue or if you're dealing with a connective tissue problem. Working with foods and digestion is not only the most important move you can make for dealing with connective tissue disease, not only the first thing you want to do, it's also super easy to do. It's super easy to control what you eat. It may not be simple, but it's super easy. It may not be simple, but it's super easy. In other words, there's a lot of emotional baggage that's associated with foods. There's a lot of addictions that are associated with foods. But really, when you think about it from a logical standpoint, it's not that difficult to do. And especially if you're dealing with something like Marfan syndrome or prolapsed parts of the body or any kind of connective tissue problem. And you want to make sure you're using all your building nutrients, especially protein and especially the mighty 90, that goes without saying, especially fats. There's a major relationship between fats and connective tissue. Connective tissue is very dense in fats. We said before that the connective tissue is an electrical system. It's like a information processing system. It's a liquid crystal semi-conducting information processor. Basically, your connective tissue is like a computer chip, and it's powered and charged in large measure by essential fatty acids. That makes EFA super important for everybody. EFAs are important, but extra important if you're dealing with some kind of connective tissue health problem. Get yourself on the ultimate EFAs. Make sure you're using 9 of them a day. If you have any kind of fat malabsorption problems, it's best to take your essential fatty acids with meals and with your enzymes. And then for all connective tissue disorders, all connective tissue disease, including so-called genetic ones like Marfan syndrome, for all connective tissue diseases, you want to make sure you're doing weight-bearing exercises on a regular basis. You don't need P90X. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need an hour workout or an hour-and-a-half workout. You don't, unless you want one. But if you just want to build connective tissue, if you just don't want to fall apart, all you need is just 5 or 10 minutes a day, 3 to 5 days a week. Get a couple of, you don't even need dumbbells. You certainly don't need a gym membership, and you don't even need weights or dumbbells. You can do it with, you can get a good weight-bearing exercise with a couple of gallon jugs filled with water. You do a quick upper body, lower body workout with just 2 gallon jugs filled with water. If you want more weight, you can use a 5-gallon bucket, a couple of 5-gallon buckets, one for each arm. You do all kinds of exercises. If you want to use less weight, get some sweat socks, fill them up with rocks, or wrap them around a can of beans and make yourself a mini dumbbell. And by the way, not only is there an important relationship between fat and connective tissue health, good fat, essential fatty acids, but there's also a cholesterol relationship to connective tissue and muscle tissue health. Connective tissue, or cholesterol, is a major component of connective tissue. If you're building, or if you're repairing, if you're weightlifting, if you're an athlete, if you're post-surgery, if you've had some kind of trauma, your body is going to be making more cholesterol. Cholesterol is a building substance. Cholesterol is the most important building substance in the body. If you take a statin drug, now you're going to be making less cholesterol, and you're going to be slowing down building, you're going to be slowing down healing, and it's no accident that the side effects of statin drugs affect the nervous system as well as connective tissue and muscle tissue. These tissues are super dependent on cholesterol. Not that the rest of the body, the skin is also dependent on cholesterol, and the epithelia, the surface tissue, that's also dependent on cholesterol. And statin drugs can mess up skin health, and they can mess up all the other health of all the other systems, but no system in the body is more dependent on cholesterol. That means no system in the body is going to be more sensitive to the effects of statin drugs than the muscle system and the connective tissue system. There's numerous cases of autoimmune diseases of connective tissue that are associated with statins. In fact, there's numerous cases of autoimmune diseases of connective tissue that are associated with all drugs, especially lupus, which is a classic autoimmune disease that's a result of the prescription drug intake. Obviously not always, it doesn't always occur, but it's one of the things that can happen from all prescription drugs, including statins. And then we come to our amino acid, our hardening amino acid, the one we started talking about a couple of weeks ago before we digressed into this discussion, connective tissue, and that is cysteine. Cysteine gives the body a certain hardness and a certain strength. It's the body's most important, or one of the most important structural amino acids. Cysteine helps harden and strengthen collagen, which is kind of a biological rope. It's the most important protein in the body, and it gets its hard quality from cysteine. Collagen is basically a triple rope. It's this, if you look at a big, strong piece of rope, you'll notice that there's smaller pieces of rope that compose the big pieces of rope. In the same way that the twine is made up of smaller threads that wrap around each other, that gives the twine a certain strength, in the same way as twine is made up of multiple fibers, collagen as well is made up of smaller fibers that are wrapped around each other. This quality gives collagen a significant flexibility and a significant strength. But then there's a little piece of cysteine that's inserted between the collagen threads that basically acts like a little rivet that biologically bolts these collagen strands together. And that makes cysteine mega important for all hardening tissues in the body. That includes not just the collagen in your bones, but it also includes the hardness of your nails, the hardness of your hair, and also the hardness of the surface of the skin. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We're coming back with your phone calls at 855-660-4261 right after.
Did you know that organic sulfur can cleanse and defend your body against the poisons we're exposed to each day? Organic sulfur crystals from sulfurdefense.com help by forcing oxygen and nutrition into your cells while eliminating heavy metals, contaminants, and damaging radiation. Defend yourself and family from toxic assault with one of the most critical and essential minerals available today. Order online at sulfurdefense.com. That's sulfurdefense.com. Or call 800-593-6273.
I'm David Cordani, President and CEO of Cigna. We're proud to support the March of Dimes by walking in the March for Babies. It feels great to know that the money we raise funds life-saving research and programs that improve the health of babies. With your help, we can make this year better than ever. Join Cigna and our coworkers across the country in March for Babies to help more moms have full-term pregnancies and healthier babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org and march to help our babies. Thank you.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues no matter how serious or trivial. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right. General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Take delivery in spring. 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
In the U.S., 1 in every 50 homes will have a break-in this year. Burglars call it smash and grab. Police call it robbery. We call it avoidable. We are Fake TV, a simple electronic device that can fool even professional burglars. Fake TV easily plugs into any outlet and simulates the changing colors of a television. To a burglar, it looks like someone must be home watching TV, so they'll likely move on to an easier target. At only $29.95, Fake TV costs less than a month of most alarm monitoring plans and comes with free shipping. Order your Fake TV by calling 877-5-FAKE-TV or go to faketv.com. That's 877-532-5388 or faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
We are America's largest independently owned communications network, GCN.
All right, we are back on the Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben, reading from the journal Medicine and Science in Sports and Nutrition. Headline, Implications for Connective Tissue and Bone Alterations Resulting from Resistance Exercise Training. Available, this is reading a quote from the journal. The available data, quote, the available data suggests that 1, physical activity increases connective tissue strength and mass. 2, activation of the anti-gravity muscles. Those are muscles that fight against gravity, things like your back muscles and your jaw muscles. Activation of the anti-gravity muscles must be accomplished to adequately stimulate connective tissue. And 3, the volume, intensity, and load-bearing nature, that is how much weight you're lifting or how much weight you're pushing or pulling, load-bearing nature of the exercise training are important factors in causing connective tissue adaptations. Based on the above factors, a speculative model of training for increased maximum strength of connective tissue has been developed, and that's from October 1988, the journal Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. The bottom line is, folks, lifting weights can help you build connective tissue. Do any kind of weight-bearing exercise can build connective tissue. And as we said, you don't need a lot. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need a lot of time to get into some connective tissue building exercises. All right, tomorrow we'll continue talking about cysteine and its importance to the health of the skin as well as the health of the hair. There's a really interesting hair care product that you can get in your salon. A lot of women know about it for hair straightening that takes advantage of cysteine, and we'll tell you about that tomorrow as we continue talking about peptides and health, amino acids and health, especially cysteine for building a strong, healthy body. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network, and it's time to hit our phones. 855-660-4261 is our number. Let's go to Michigan and welcome David to The Bright Side. Good morning, David. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, Ben. How you doing?
Doing good. How can we help you, my friend?
Good. Well, I wondered if you got that email about the bio-alternatives for the colostrum from my wife, Pam.
Oh, yeah. That's your wife, Pam. I did get it. I haven't looked at it yet. I saw it through my emails, but thank you so much for sending that out. Now, was that powdered colostrum, or was that?
Yes.
That was powdered colostrum.
Yep,
yeah,
it was GMO-free and
awesome.
BSE or something like that free. I'm legally blind, so I can't really read it.
Did she put the address and the phone number of the company as well?
Yes, I believe
good.
so.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much for that, David. And thank
you're
your
welcome.
wife. I appreciate it. What's going on today?
I have a friend. He found out his mom had, she's 80, she had endometriosis when he was growing up, but she had a hysterectomy, and, I don't know if she's having any issues from that still, but my daughter's friend, 16 years old, suffering with endometriosis.
Okay,
tell me about that.
Yeah, I know a lot about it. And for the ladies out there, never ever let a doctor hack out your female reproductive system because you have endometriosis. There's no reason to have, and I know I've said this before, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but it just makes me so angry. This idea that we can remove the organs of the body simply because something's going wrong is so offensive. It's so insulting to the intelligence of the average human being. It's so nefarious. It's so twisted and perverted for a medical professional who's sworn to do no harm to operate in this fashion. I can't tell you how much it galls me and it irritates me. So I hate to get all mad about this, but it's a terrible situation when people that we trust, people who should know better, just act like butchers hacking stuff out of the body. Endometriosis is a metabolic issue. It's not a structure issue. It's not an organ issue. It's a chemistry issue. So you don't take organs out to straighten out a chemistry issue. Now, if you have cancer, that's a structural issue. That's different. But if you have a metabolic or a chemistry issue, that's not a reason to take the organs of the body out. Endometriosis needs to be regarded as, number one, a problem with blood sugar and insulin. Number two, a problem with the digestive system. And number three, as a problem with the activation of the stress management system. So the three strategies for dealing with endometriosis. First and foremost, as always, correct digestive issues, especially around fats and fat absorption. That means work on concentrating on fatty foods, changing how you eat fatty foods, using smaller portions of fatty foods, pre-processing your fatty foods in a blender or food processor, using the ultimate enzymes with your fatty foods, using apple cider vinegar at the end of meals, pancreatin, which is a type of enzyme, digestive enzyme, biolumin nightly essence. Probiotics, folks, are so important and underappreciated for fat metabolism. They're important for every single digestive health issue you can name. They're important for everybody, but they're especially important when it comes to how we process fats. Hormone issues, female hormone issues that involve estrogen, like endometriosis, oftentimes have a fat malabsorption component. And so anything you could do to improve fat absorption is going to be helpful, and that means probiotics in addition to all the other things that we just talked about. Bile salts can help. Lecithin after meals can help. Then you want to start to balance out the excess estrogen. Endometriosis is a hyperestrogen condition, too much estrogen, and estrogen's a stress hormone. There's lots of ways to balance out estrogen. Probably the most effective is is progesterone cream. Everybody on endometriosis, or everybody with endometriosis, needs to be on a progesterone cream. That's the first thing a doctor should be doing for somebody who's dealing with endometriosis, is get a 10% progesterone cream. You got to have a compounding pharmacist make it for you. You're not going to be able to get a 10% cream in the store. You may be able to get a 2% cream in the store, but don't fall prey. Don't be a victim to the yam creams. You want real progesterone cream, maybe from yam, but not just yam. Look on the ingredients on the back of the ingredient deck. Last week we talked to a gal who wanted to know about ingredients for drugs versus ingredients for non-drug materials. Ingredients for a progesterone cream will say active ingredients, progesterone, and then it'll tell you how much progesterone is in there. If it doesn't have the active ingredients and the inactive ingredients separated out, it's not a real progesterone cream. So look for 10% or so progesterone from a compounding pharmacist. If worse comes to worse and you can't find somebody to make it for you, go with a 2% progesterone cream. If you don't want to deal with the progesterone cream, use pregnenolone tablets, 100 milligrams a day. Everybody with endometriosis. If you're not, don't want to go with the progesterone cream, which is the best, go with pregnenolone capsules or tablets, which you can get at a health food store, 100 milligrams a day. Then you want to make sure you're stabilizing your blood sugar. Very often endometriosis is associated with dysglycemia. That means restricting your intake of refined carbohydrates and sugars and fruits and fruit juices and anything that spikes your insulin. Using more protein, of course, is your best strategy for doing that. Between all those things we just talked about, endometriosis symptoms should disappear within short order, and certainly you should start to notice, or your friend should start to notice, a difference within a day or two. Number one, correcting digestive issues, especially around fats, and using all the digestive support we just talked about, especially for fat malabsorption. Number two, balancing out estrogen with progesterone and pregnenolone, also reducing any kind of stress on the body, especially the stress from excess sugar, and that means restricting sugars. Number three, using sugar-metabolizing nutrients like the B vitamins, which you'll get in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Sweeties product, in addition to just laying off the refined carbohydrates, pasta, rice, potatoes, fruit juices, and big, fat, sweet, juicy fruits. Using more protein is the easiest strategy for doing that. Does that help you, David?
It certainly does, Ben. You're awesome as usual.
All right, my friend.
But you just covered most of America's diet there.
I know. Well, that's how it goes. It's not that hard. I mean, I'm not even necessary. One of these days, I'm not even going to be on the radio anymore because everything I say is the same thing. And you don't need me.
Be on the radio.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave. Thanks a lot, brother. Have a beautiful day, my man. Say hi to Pam. Take care, bro. All right. Hang tight. If you're on the phone, we'll get you when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Brightside on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back after this. Howdy, folks. Pharmacist Ben here, nutritional pharmacist and skincare chemist. If you've heard me on my daily health and wellness program, The Brightside, you know I'm on a mission to spread the good news about the power of nutritional supplementation to correct your healthcare challenges and get you feeling vital and healthy once again. I want you to call 877-279-9422 and check out the powerful, affordable line of nutritional products from Youngevity, the ones I take and the ones I recommend. That's 877-279-9422 or go to www.gcnminerals.com. Why simply mask your symptoms with toxic pharmaceutical drugs when you can address causes with vitamins and minerals? I suggest the Healthy Start Pack. It gives your body the essential 90 nutrients it needs. Most people notice a difference right away. You can sign up to help me spread the good news of health and wellness without drugs and maybe make a little money too. And while you're there, don't forget to check out my important video message. That's gcnminerals.com or call 877-279-9422. And remember, friends, good nutrition is good medicine.
So we decided to upgrade the look of our home.
You know, improve the curve appeal.
We decided to add the look of stone to the exterior.
We really like the stacked stone look.
Yeah, but when I checked into the price, it was ridiculous. No way could we afford it.
Then a friend told me about Genstone. Genstone.
Genstone comes in lightweight panels made of polyurethane. They've actually engineered the hassle out of installation. No mortar, no mesh. It was easy. Even I could do it.
We just screwed the panels to the wall and it looks like stone. stone. I mean, it really looks like stone.
Yeah, from the box to the wall in minutes.
We love the look of our home now.
And Gemstone is durable, comes with a 25-year warranty, and offers additional R-value for insulation.
If you want the look of stone at a price you can afford, call Gemstone
at 855-955-STONE.
Trust me, you'll save money.
And you'll love the look.
855-955-STONE. That's 855-955-7866.
Now you can get the same survival food U.S. Special Forces use on their toughest field missions. High-protein, high-energy, freeze-dried foods known as long-range patrol rations, or LRPs. Soldiers love LRP rations. They're lightweight and easy to carry. Easy to prepare by just adding water. Easy to enjoy because they taste great. Civilians love LRPs as a solution for emergency preparedness and recreational activities with limited storage space, such as hiking, climbing, sailing, or RV travel. Veteran-owned Freeze Dry Guy is your exclusive source for this 2013 U.S. military overrun. Long on nutrition, these delicious entrees have a long shelf life, lasting decades. But this rare opportunity, this limited supply, will not last long. You have to act now. Call 866-404-3663, 866-404-FOOD, or log on now to freezedryguy.com, freezedryguy.com.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
A little right, a little left, but always independent-minded. The Genesis Communications Network, GCN.
All right, we're back on the bright side. Let's go off to Indiana and welcome Ken to the program. What's going on, Ken? How you doing this morning?
Emerson, Ben, I'm doing fine. You are truly a magnificent individual. I am studying all of your archives. I want to ask you today about water. What a magnificent gift from God. Water, way back water. There is a physicist, Dan Nelson, who has, I'm not sure I understand it all. He's got a white paper out on it. If you have not studied this, you need to check this out. I've been taking it for about 9 months now.
All right.
Take a tablespoon and put it into a gallon of spring water.
All right.
Take too much of it, you'll detox too fast. Me and my wife's been taking it for 9 months. There's pixie dust in there. I'll tell you, there's something about it.
Okay.
What he's supposed to have done is change the cluster structure or the molecule.
All right. There's lots of structure. Yeah, there's lots of structured water out there. This is all based on the idea that water in the body, water in cells and water in the body that's tied up and connected with proteins and other molecules is structured a certain way. It has an organization. But that doesn't necessarily mean that drinking water is going to have an effect on the body. I'm not necessarily convinced of that. Are you saying that you actually can give me personal testimonial that made a difference?
I certainly can. Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, my wife been on for 9 months, and look, there's something about that water that is different. I'm not sure I understand all that he's doing to it, but I'm kind of curious about water has a memory, and it's magnificent stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd like for you to kind of look at the white paper, see what you think about it, because I have a lot of people are telling me a lot of things about it. It's way back water. It's a physicist, Dan Nelson. He's a quantum mechanics on it, but my question about it is, please check it out, Brother Ben. All right. What about the memory of water? If water has a memory.
Yeah, water and all molecules are All of its program, all molecules are programmed. There's a guy named Seth Lloyd, who's a professor at MIT, and he wrote a really neat book. It's a very easy to read book. He's a big time quantum physicist, but he wrote a really easy to understand book called Programming the Universe. And in the book, he talks about how all atoms have a memory. They store information. That means because everything is made up of atoms, everything is memory. Everything is information. Everything stores information. And this is actually the latest of the latest when it comes to high-tech physics, is the idea that the universe and material objects are really information storage devices. Water being the most fundamental of the molecules on planet Earth, like all atoms and all molecules, likewise has a memory. Homeopathy works on this principle, and we know homeopathy can be effective as a medicinal tool. So it makes sense that water can have a memory, and water can have a certain structure. We know that water has a structure inside of cells and in the body, but I'm just not convinced that drinking water can affect the bound or structured water inside the body. I understand the logic of what they're saying. I will read the paper, though, and see what he says about it, and I'll make a comment on it after I read it. So I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. But
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate the call. Thanks for the kind words, too. But my first thought is that I don't think that simply drinking a water that has been structured for you can have an effect on the structured water in the body. I think once it goes down your gullet and goes into your stomach and gets processed by all the digestive juices and all the processing chemicals in the digestive tract, I can't see that water that was structured in the factory or through whatever devices they were using to structure it is going to maintain its structure through all of the chemical assaults that water goes, chemical changes that water goes under as it goes through the digestive tract. But I will maintain an open mind and take a look at Dan Nelson's paper, and then I'll have a comment on it after I read whatever the guy has to say about it. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Ken. All right, Bruce in Connecticut, what's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Hey, Ben. Thanks for taking my call. I'm doing okay. I actually took a fall on my shoulder 3 weeks ago, and I've been mending from it. And I've tried to call in a couple of times, but you've become so popular, it is very difficult to get on. I'm trying to put the pieces together for listening to what seems like over a year. And what I've learned is I went to a health food store, got probiotics, something called Primal Defense by Garden of Life.
Jordan Rubin.
Yeah, and I listened to your advice about starting off with 1 and then 2 and then 3, and then finally I'm up to 4 or 5, and I started to notice the results. So I had to increase my dosage to get some of the benefits you're talking about. But the reason I'm calling today is I'm trying to connect the dots to what you're talking about, and I'm trying the things that you're mentioning on the air. I'm really interested in solutions and how to deal with GMO and some of the toxins in food and what's going on with genetically modifying the food. And I also wanted to get your take on a mini trampoline, like a 40-inch trampoline, where you go on and rebound from it. If you could touch those issues, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, I didn't quite. The only question I really heard you ask me about was the rebounding. I'm not sure what you want me to say about the GMOs. Obviously, they're a big problem. But what are you going to do? The cat's out of the bag. You know, once you start playing around with seeds, there's really no way to control them. So
yeah, I'm talking about from your perspective. What I'd probably eating genetically.
Don't eat a Taco Bell. For number one, stay away from don't eat food made by big companies that could care less whether you or your children lived or died. And that's Taco Bell, and that's McDonald's and Ruby Tuesdays and all the other things you see advertised on TV. But you can't really, can't control it. Once a seed is in the soil and it produces a plant, and that plant gives off seeds, it's out in the environment. There's no way to really control it. So we're going to run into a big problem here. And I've said this before. As human beings, we have done such a number trashing our planet that you can't avoid the mercury, and you can't avoid the GMOs, and you can't avoid the toxins that are in the soil and in the air and in the water and in the fish and in the animals that we eat and in the vegetables. Even if you're eating organic vegetables, they still spray it with water, or they still water the ground, and that water's got drugs in it, and that water's got all kinds of nasty chemicals in it. We just ruined our environment. We're idiots. The human race is composed of idiots, and that includes me and you and everybody else who claims to be a human being. And that's just what we do. So we got to live with this kind of toxicity. But what you can do is control where you can control. That means staying away from processed foods, number one. It's staying away from foods that's made by people who don't care about you. And if you see it advertised on television, that's a food that qualifies as a food made by a company that doesn't care about you. If it's not made by your mother or by somebody you love, your wife or your friend or somebody else, it's probably not a food that you want to eat. Be very, very, very selective and careful careful about what you put in your mouth. That's number one. It doesn't do us any good to scream about GMOs and mercury and fluoride and chemtrails, et cetera, if we're driving through McDonald's. So control where we can control. Dr. Hurley calls it locus of control. Where we have the locus of control is on the kind of foods we eat, number one. The kind of supplements we use for the digestive system is also important. Not putting an undue burden on the digestive tract. This is called, or on the body. Not putting an undue burden on the immune system, especially. Dr. Rogers calls it immune load. And what she means is the immune system is kind of like a camel, and everything we give the immune system to process, whether it's from the air, the water, the food, whatever, is like a straw that gets put on top of the immune system's back, and then all of a sudden, one thing acts like a straw that breaks the immune system's back, so to speak. And we'll blame the pollen, and we'll blame the GMO, and we'll blame the mercury, but really what it is, it's the accumulation of toxicity, the accumulation of poisons that we put into the body over time. Control where we can control. Stay away from problem foods. Build the digestive tract. Use the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Make sure you're on the Mighty 90. As far as your rebounding, your mini trampoline goes, rebounding is one of the most powerful and effective exercise strategies you could ever use. If you wake up in the morning tired, chances are you got a congested and clogged lymph. If you have a good night's sleep, you get 8 hours of sleep, and you don't wake up completely rested, chances are your lymph is stagnant and clogged. As soon as you get out of bed, head over to your rebounder. It costs you about $50 or $60 for a good mini trampoline. Head over to the mini trampoline and jump for 2 minutes just to move the lymph around. You get off of that mini trampoline, you're going to feel like a new person. If you feel cold coming on, get on the rebounder. If you have any stiff joints, we've been talking about connective tissue. Connective tissue stiffness is a sign that the connective tissue in your arteries is also stiff. The connective tissue in your face is also stiff. So making sure your connective tissue is loose and limber is a major health strategy, not just for the connective tissue in the body structure, but also the connective tissue in the circulatory system, the connective tissue in the skin, wherever there's connective tissue. And getting on a rebounder can help loosen up the connective tissue, bring more oxygen to the connective tissue, improve detoxification to the connective tissue as well, from the connective tissue as well. So, Bruce, a rebounder is the best $60 or so investment you can ever make in your health. It'll last you for years, and it'll only take you 2 or 3 minutes to exploit or leverage the advantages of it. And I cannot tell you how functional, how important a rebounder can be, especially if you're coming down with a cold, as I said last week. It's a great way to move the lymphatic system if you feel kind of sluggish and you feel like you might be getting sick. Thanks for your call, Bruce. Appreciate it. And I apologize for you guys who we left on hold. Give us a call back tomorrow. Tell our call screener we left you on hold and we'll get you first up. And that's all the time we have for today on the Bright Side. If you're in the Bay Area, I'd love to see you on March 7th at the Vintage Faith Church in Santa Cruz, California. And we'll be getting on around 6:30 or so. Try to get there. All right, tomorrow we'll continue talking cysteine, and we'll talk about how it relates to the skin and how it relates to the hair with a very interesting hair product a lot of women know about. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the Bright Side. Thanks for listening, folks. Check out my website, brightsideben.com. Click on the Join the Team link and start yourself a longevity business. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.
The state of our drinking water today is worse than at any time in human history. Studies show that most drinking water contains heavy metals, aluminum, chromium-6, agricultural and industrial toxins. If you get regular headaches, migraines, chronic pain, foggy thinking, fatigue, or nervous system malfunctions, you may have a buildup of these harmful toxins. This week at waterwebinar.com, in an all-new free webinar, Earth's most powerful cleansing secret is being revealed. Use it to neutralize inorganic particles like lead, aluminum, arsenic, and even mercury, and remove these accumulated poisons from your body. These toxins accumulate in your body over time and can cause many problems. You can get them out. Go to waterwebinar.com now and sign up for free to find out how to turn even the worst tap water imaginable into pristine water with powerful healing properties. It's your body, your water, your freedom. You have a right to drink pristine, clean water. Come and claim it. Go to waterwebinar.com now. That's waterwebinar.com. Go now and sign up for free.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.